All right, y'all. Welcome back for another episode of the A Better Me Equals a Better We podcast. It is I, your host, Trey. Super excited to be back with you guys yet again. We are on episode number 25, halfway to 50. We on our way. Started from the bottom, now we here, right? And I got some familiar faces with me for episode number 25. Episodes number 25's title is called The Shot, right? And I'm specifically talking about the vaccine, but you know when you say things like vaccine or you put it in the comments, you get that little bar at the bottom of your videos. And I was like, listen, I don't need the CDC all up in my videos, all up in the side. I named it The Shot, but I know they're gonna flag it and put the little thing at the bottom now that I said vaccine in the video. But I brought two people along with me to talk about this specific topic. Two people that I know have really strong opinions on the vaccine, on the pandemic, but I also know that they're going to give us a lot of information, all the information that they have, and we're going to learn and grow together. So, Tora, why don't you introduce yourself for our viewers and tell them just a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. So my name is Shatora. I basically specialize in fitness and health and wealth. And I'm just really excited to talk about the shot.
Right. Let's get it. Let's get right into it. She's always a little modest. Don't worry. At the end, I'm gonna circle back and big up her fitness thing. But Cam, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Cam. I work in TV advertising, and I'm excited to be here today to have a good conversation and to get some workout tips from Tori at the end.
Right. Let's look heavy on the workout tips because I promise y'all, I need those tips, right? The name of Tori's brand is Imperfect Mom. I know I'm not a mom, but listen, workout tips is workout tips, right? Give it here, I take it, right? So whenever we start a particular topic, I always say this at the beginning of the episode. I like to start from the beginning, right? So before we jump right just into the shot itself, I want to just jump into like the pandemic, like just in general, right? So for you, Cam, what were your first thoughts about, COVID-19, like the pandemic itself, like when it happened? What were your first thoughts?
Honestly, I feel like it came out of nowhere. I feel like one day we were sitting at work, we started hearing about some virus. Some people were nervous about it. Most of us didn't really care. Then it was like, oh, all of a sudden, pack up your stuff because when we get dismissed, we might not be coming back. And it was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, like things just took a turn for the worse. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it came out of nowhere. This wasn't something that, in our generation that any of us ever experienced. So right. It just came out of nowhere.
Right. It's so crazy. I was just telling my nephew Darren that the other day, and I was telling him about COVID, and I was saying, like, you got to understand there are certain things that parents will do to make sure that their kids are safe to their knowledge, because this is something that no one in our generation has ever experienced. Like the last time something like this happened was what it was like smallpox or something like that. If you in the comments and when the last time it happened, let me know. But it was like 100 years ago, like the early 1900s, right? So I don't think there's a lot of people that are living that are past 100. And even if they are, they were a baby when it happened, right? So this is the first time that we've ever experienced something like this. And for me, I remember my friend told me about it in like November, right? So he was like, yo, you heard of this thing called the coronavirus? It's in China. And I'm like, Corona, like the beer? Like, he was like, yeah, like Corona. I'm like, bro, that's something, that's going to happen overseas, like the West Nile or something like that. It's not going to come over here. Like, we're fine. And then even when it kind of started trickling over here in January, February, it was like, we're good, like we're fine. And then next, boom, March comes and everything shuts down, like at the blink of an eye. So Tora, what was it like for you, like when the pandemic first hit?
So when the pandemic first hit, I had only been back to work I want to say like 3 weeks from having the baby. I had just came back from maternity leave,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news because I feel like that's how they control us.
Mhm.
They pump the fear in the news. Oh, be careful of this, be careful of that. And the way to control the masses is make them scared.
Right.
So I stay away from the news. So my mother and my grandmother, they're like, oh, the coronavirus. I'm like, okay, this is probably something that,
Right.
they just heard on the news and it's just a cold, you know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
like, we'll be fine. And then I remember coming from work one day, and my mother was like, go to the supermarket, make sure you got tissue, make sure you got food in your house. Cool. All right, I'll make sure I have food in my house. Now I get to the supermarket. Where's the food?
Yup.
Where's
Yo.
I was like, what is going on? Is the world coming to an end? Like, what is going on? There's no tissue. I'm buying food that I don't eat, like just to have
Wow.
food to take home. I'm like, all right, this might be more serious than I think it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me just pay attention or whatever. But I was just like, okay, it's a crazy virus, but why do I still have to go to work?
Right. Right.
Shut down all the elevators. Shut down the whole city. Why are we still going to work? Shut it
Mm-hmm.
down, and that'll stop it from spreading so rapidly.
Right.
Just shut
Right.
everything down. But that didn't happen. I worked through the whole damn thing.
Look. And you know what's so crazy? Natalie just put in our comment, the toilet tissue was gone. What was it? Somebody please tell me what was the deal with the toilet tissue?
You know why? You know why? Because people are like, we're gonna be in the house. You gotta have food. And now if you got food, you gotta keep going to the bathroom. And if you keep going to the bathroom, you're gonna need tissue. And then you're gonna need to wash your hands, so you need paper towel. It was crazy. I was like, okay. I get everybody's logic, but it was just too much.
It was so crazy at one point during the pandemic, like the latter end of the pandemic, I was working at Walmart. And I remember I was working for the stocking team. So I was the manager over the team that unloaded the trucks and stuff like that. And it was literally a point where we would take tissue like off the truck, out the box. And as soon as we opened the box, it was like it was gone. Like it was like it was like wait, like toilet tissue, Lysol wipes. Like as soon as I opened the box, I didn't even listen. You ain't even got to put it on the shelf. Thank you. And it was just taking it.
People were fighting over it. I said, "Oh my God!"
And I've seen that too. Oh, yeah. And then Steph said in our comments that they said the side effect of COVID was diarrhea. So maybe that had a part in it too. Like I'm not sure what everybody was thinking, but I tell you that was one of the things that I understood that was one of the commodities that people felt like they needed to stock up on. But it was funny to me as well, like toilet tissue, like paper towels, like that was definitely funny to me as well. So now we get in this pandemic, right? Everybody is shocked because we're hearing about it. It's here, and then our president at the time is telling us that we're fine, like everything is good, like we're not going to shut down. And then like 2 weeks after that, I think there was an article that showed, I think the end of February, he said that. And then it was like March 10th or somewhere around there where it was like shut down, right? So now we come from a point where our commander in chief is telling us like, all right, we straight. And now we just shut down. And for me, I watch movies sometimes. This is how much the pandemic is in my brain. It's like I watch movies sometimes and see people hug and be like, "Dad, they ain't got no mask on." Like you know what I'm saying? Like forgetting that this was 10, 15 years ago and I'm not saying that that's my view, like people should or shouldn't wear masks or should or shouldn't do this, but just the normal is seeing people with masks on, especially when they're in close proximity. So I'll be watching these movies and somebody will hug and I'll be like, oh my God, like what y'all doing? Like
you want to know what messed me up? It's like as soon as COVID hit, I decided to watch a series on Netflix called Contagion. I think that's what it was called.
I heard about that.
I was scared to go to the city because I'm like, if I go to the city, I can't get back to Brooklyn if they shut Manhattan down. How do
Mm-hmm.
I get back home to my family? Now I'm stuck in Manhattan and can't get home to my babies. I was
Mm-hmm.
terrified. I'm like, why in the world would I watch this specific show? But
Right.
it
Like, am
was
I gonna have to
weird
walk?
because, yeah, it was weird because I'm like, why is what's going on in this show? It's literally happening right now. Like
I
if
watched
that
all those
virus wasn't
movies.
as bad, and I was just like, that's scary, because it seemed like these movies and these shows predict
Right.
what's
You know
going
what
on.
they say
And it's
about the
like,
Simpsons?
exactly. I
Right.
was
It's
like,
true.
I'm
It's true.
telling
It's
I was
funny.
like, no.
In the comments, Auntie Natalie said over the past 15 years, there has been no shortage of articles and white papers issuing dire warnings that a global pandemic involving a new respiratory disease was only a matter of time. And that's true. I mean, it was a shock. It felt like it came out of nowhere, even though we were just coming off of Ebola and that whole scare a little while
you.
ago.
All right.
But it's true. When you look back now, you see, different doctors kind of trying to warn people like, look, it's bound to happen. This is the science behind it. But it's just like for us, I mean, honestly, what can we do about it? We couldn't have stopped it.
Right, right, and now we're here. So now one of the things that I feel like for me, oh wait, I gotta address this one. Nikki said in our comments, "You work out, Tori, you can walk that."
Not
but
if it's in the city. Yeah, I can't go through I can't walk on water.
right, like you want me to walk across that bridge, sis? Like, how you want to do this? Like, but for me, one of the things that I feel like that as somebody that plays sports, so I play basketball, I teach basketball, as as a part of my business, and as well as do tournaments and things of that sort. And that was one of the things. Like when the pandemic happened, it was like, wait, I can't do no tournaments. I can't. I had a camp planned. Like I had a Easter showcase planned. I had coaches coming and all these great things. And it's like, wait, like what am I supposed to do now? Because now we can't be in close proximity with each other. And even me playing recreationally, it was like, wait, like maybe I didn't really realize how good this was, right? So for you guys, Cam, I'll start with you first. Do you think that all of us like that we took for granted, like just being able to just move around freely?
I think that's always the case. People always joke about, when you get sick and you can't breathe out of one of your nostrils, and you're like, dang, like I took for granted all the times when I could breathe, like it's so miserable. I think that's always the case. When something's taken away from you, you realize how good you had it when you had it. So absolutely. I'm realizing it's so many little things that I miss that I think about, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just ask people like, what do you miss about the old life? I call it the old life because
Right.
it's just in the reality. But it's so many things, so many times where I'm like, yeah, like I took that for granted for sure.
Right, right. How about you, Tora? Do you think that we took it for granted?
Yeah, like the gym.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I was getting back into the groove of things and getting into the gym, getting that baby weight off of me, the gym shut down, which completely did not make any sense to me because when there's a virus or anything, the best thing you want to do is work out and, eat healthier. So you took the gym away from people. But whatever, you know what? I was really upset about that. It hurt my feelings. I was hurt. And it was like I couldn't come home and work out. You do take advantage of you don't consider how easy you have it until you can't do something. Like I at one point when they were closing the stores early at 5 o'clock, so I can't go to the store at 8 o'clock at night because the stores are closed.
Mm,
And that sounds like something normal for people who may live like outside of New York City.
right, right,
Stores close early. A lot of stores close early, but in New York and Brooklyn, if I can't walk to the store, I'm upset.
right.
Like, what do you
There's one
mean?
store that's open 20. I can get a
It
bacon egg
doesn't.
at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I was like, you closing the stores at 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Now I got to rush home from work. Like we definitely
We missing a lot.
we missed a lot. We missed a lot, but
Definitely.
I'm glad we got some type of normalcy back.
Yeah, some type. But one of the things that I can say that I've heard from a lot of people in the pandemic is, although there were a lot of things that didn't make sense although there were a lot of things that we may have taken for granted, but there were ups for some people as well as downs. So Cam, for you, what do you think were some of the cons of the pandemic?
Honestly, the only one I can think of is just the fact that I got to work from home, because I'm just lazy, and it was lovely. It's lovely still. But other than that, I don't really see any pros. I feel like, I mean, you might ask after this what the negatives were, so I'll come back to that. But I just feel like, yeah, that's it. Working from
That's
home.
it.
That's it. That's it.
What were the pros of the pandemic for you, Tora?
I think it helped me save money.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you're an Amazon addict.
I mean, yeah, that was a problem. That was a big problem. But if you go outside and you have access to shopping, you go crazy, and it's not much I'm gonna get from Amazon. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
definitely save money. I like to go out and eat and go to restaurants and not care about. I'm not. Let me tell you, I'm not Rockefeller, but I don't look at prices.
yeah,
I'm out to have a good time. I don't look at prices, which in turn makes me spend way way too much money. So I
yeah.
was happy about that. I'm like, okay, we stay in the house, we take a little break, give our pockets a break. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so crazy. I agree with that too. As far as like one, working from home, and two, being able to save money. So at one point, I was working from home. I was working as a part of a call center, so I was able to like work from home. They gave us laptops, headsets, the whole nine yards, and I was able to work from home. And just like Tora, our babies are like what, a month apart. So I had, like, when the pandemic happened, I was literally just coming off of paternal leave, right? Paternal for the father? Yeah, paternal leave. I had just came off paternal leave, and I was only on paternal leave for a few weeks, and then that had happened. And then I wound up being able to come home, but that was good for me because now it's like, okay, I can come home with my kid. But working from home and you got a kid, that's like, that ain't nothing. You don't appreciate that ride home.
That was a setup.
Right.
That was
Listen, that train ride home, that car ride home that you get to, like, when you coming from one job to the next, and you get to just like, all right,
yes.
like, now if you working from home, as soon as it go doop, you open that door, it's game time.
Yes.
It's game
That
time.
was a setup for failure.
I tell you, it's game time. But I also realized there was a real big, like, influx of people starting businesses because they had more time on their hand, right? Or people that had businesses, they were able to really work on their craft, and YouTube University and Google and all of those different things. Like, you were able to get as much information as you can. We saw an influx in people that are trading now, whether it be the stock market or Forex. And then now people were able to do their research on things that people were scamming people on, like Forex, and things of that sort. Because at one point I thought Forex was a scam. You couldn't tell me Forex wasn't a scam.
Anytime people don't know about something, and it's sad. It's sad. Me too. We automatically think scam.
Right. And
Pyramid scheme. Like,
right. But then
no.
that's because you got people charging people to join this group and then and all this other stuff. But we ain't even gonna make it a Forex thing. But I just like that people were able to see their passion, identify their passion because they had this time, right? Now I got this time to be home, or I have this time where maybe I can't be outside as much as I usually would have been. And now I have time to, one, identify my passion, and two, put some steps forward to now say, okay, this is what I'm going to work towards. So now, even if I'm somebody that has a full-time career, but my passion is something else, when I go back to work, I'm still going to, work at my career, but I've taken so many strides in my passion that now I can work those alongside of each other versus it being something that I just think about all the time, but I just never do, right? So it definitely gave us a lot of time for that. And then also it gave us a lot of time with our family, right? One thing that I realized going to school when I was younger is that I spend more time in school around these people that I'm not going to see after this year than I do with my own parents, right? So now our kids, our family, like because now we locked in the house together. Like, whoever you in the house with or whoever you go to see, I go to see you, you come to see me, don't go nowhere else, or this relationship is cut off. It's cut off, right? So we got to spend more time with the people we love. And for that, I'm definitely grateful, right? So Tora, for you, other than the fact that the scariness of having to walk from Manhattan, what were some of the other cons for you from the pandemic?
Okay, just speaking, of course, I'm speaking on my own experience, but
Right.
the area that I worked in, I worked at that time when the pandemic had first hit. I was working over there by the Madison Square Garden, right?
Mm,
If you know that area, you know that there's always a lot of traffic over there. But not only is it traffic, but there's like a lot of homeless people, a lot of like drug addicts. So now that the city was quiet, there was no people. There was no people around for these homeless people to beg from money, beg for money from, to harass or whatever. So now it looks like the city was just quiet. That was scary. And then the bums, they became more aggressive. Like they'll
mm.
come up to you and like they'll come real close. Now at the same time, listen, bro, I know you're homeless, but you know that there's a pandemic.
Right,
You
right.
might need to back up, you know? And then like I would come out of the train station and I've seen, dope addicts sleeping on the steps with needles stuck in their arm. So that was scary for me.
Mm.
Or sometimes if I'm on my way to work or even on my way home, I'm literally the only normal person on the train. It's
Yeah,
bums on the train sleeping. Like they just took over the whole
yeah,
MTA.
yeah, yeah,
That was like really scary for me. And like the whole time, this is before they made like the mask mandatory. Like I would be on the train and I'm not wearing a mask because I'm not the type of person that fears things like this. Like I trust my immune system. But I'm standing on the train a lot and I don't have a mask on, and my grandmother kept getting on me. You need to put a mask on, and then I'm looking at
yeah,
her like I'm not walking around with no mask on my face. I'm not doing that.
yeah,
Doesn't make any sense to me. No. So that was scary. Like I said, it's being around like the homeless people with nobody else around. The cops don't want to touch them. The
yeah.
cops are scared. You know what I'm saying? So you can't ask the cops for help. They see them doing something silly, they're literally going the other way.
Right,
Like
right,
so
right.
that was really scary for me. Like I was in the trenches,
Literally,
in
literally.
the trenches.
Listen, I hear you on that, and when you really sit and think about it, right? We're all forced into our homes, especially when they do like the curfew and all of those things. But then you have people who don't have a home to be forced into, right? So that, and now if you're someone who has to travel, now that's who you have to be around on a daily basis. I could only imagine what that's like, or what that was like for you, especially, being a young woman, and now and you're traveling, and it's like,
This guy
wait,
tried to follow me into the train station one day, and it's a good thing. Like I'm alert, I pay attention, and I was just like, I'm going down the steps. He was coming up the steps, and then as soon as he seen me coming down the steps, he turned around and started coming back down the steps. So I took my behind up the steps.
right?
He's like,
As you
he's
should.
like, oh, I wasn't following you. I'm like, yeah, and I was born yesterday. So I went because you were just coming out of the train station. What
Right,
is your purpose for going back down now that you see me going down? You're not gonna. So I
right.
went
You're not
across the
even
street
going to do that.
and I took the train one stop uptown and I came across just to go back downtown. No,
Right,
no, 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 no. We're
right.
not
And
doing
you
that.
got to make sure that
I
you
had to
do
be
stuff.
so alert. Like, okay,
Yeah,
it's crazy out here. And then
scared.
at work, one of the pros was at work. Nobody was at work, so that means no elevators were moving. That means no elevators were shutting down. So I was going to work like this
That was
all day.
amazing.
Time to go. Okay, what did you do today? Nothing.
Listen, and it's not even your fault, right? Ain't nobody here for the
Exactly.
elevator to
Nobody's
get
here.
broken.
Everybody's working from home now.
So Cam, how about for you? What were some of your cons for the pandemic?
So, first of all, I'll just say that I'm a germaphobe. I've always been a germaphobe since I was like probably 2 or 3. So, honestly, a pandemic is my worst fear in life. So, just first of all, not knowing what was happening, nobody really had answers. Everybody was confused. People were getting sick, loved ones were unfortunately passing away. It was just really just a hectic time. I see in the comments some people were talking about like gaining weight and stuff like that. I don't know about y'all, but when the pandemic first started, I was thinking it was going to be only for a couple months. So I was like, cool, bet. I'm going to use this time. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to eat right. I lost some weight. And then as the months went on and on and on, it's like, all right, wait a minute, this is not over yet. I just started
Right.
eating and eating it. It's
Right.
like, oh, I would say that gaining weight, not knowing, it affected my job. Because like I said, I work in advertising, and my clients are local businesses. So it's like, not only am I feeling for them, because you have restaurant owners who are losing everything that they ever worked for, but it also affected, my book of business. So just basically in every area of life, socially, didn't really want to go out, so just all around the board.
I'm telling you, and then honestly speaking, like that's one of those things that are really when we talk about socially, really test your relationship, right? Because now, if we don't live in a close proximity to each other, or we don't live in the same house, we in a long distance relationship, and we live 5 blocks down. Like not like you get what I'm saying, like because we not even finna play that game. Because you got a job you got to go to, I got a job I got to go to, and if we two people that feel like, all right, the pandemic is real, like this is a real thing, now we're forced to distance. So my heart goes out to people that were in relationships at that time, and it really forced you into like a, and it really forced you. Listen, I wasn't gonna put you on Front Street.
I mean, yeah. So it was a good 7 months. It was 7 months that we were apart. So yeah, that was crazy.
That's that's rough. That's rough. And then Natalie said in our comments that a con was I got that COVID spread. I gained some weight. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had that COVID spread too. I was at one point during the pandemic, I was 230, and I'm only 5'10" on a good day, like with the right type of shoes on, right? So 230 on me, I was getting prepared for Santa Claus. Like I was getting prepared for Christmas. Like thankfully I was able to, get back to it and get back to my athletic roots. And now I'm at a comfortable 200, and I feel like I look pretty all right. I was always,
your shirt fitting you real nice.
you feel me? Like, and look, and this is an extra large. I was always a medium guy, like, so I'm cool. I'm cool with it. I got a little life in my face, so I'm straight. I'm straight, right? So there was some pros and some cons. It forced a lot of us to do a lot of things that we probably didn't want to do, and then it also was a come up for a lot of people, right? So we finna get into them PPP loans. Tora, what are your thoughts on the PPP loan?
Listen, they steal from us. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. I didn't get on the PPP wave. I'm too honest for that. But for the people that did, I don't blame you. You know what? Get it how you get it. Be ready to pay it back though. I was just like, honestly, I'm a new entrepreneur. I'm a new business owner. So it's certain things that I didn't know. So I was just like, you mean to tell me I could have got a loan for a PPP? I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And I'm just like, I may need to get on that wave.
Right.
Maybe I need to look into it, but I mean, listen, everybody just need to be ready to pay it back.
I'm telling you, because
I don't like paying people back.
And it's funny because they got a list now. They out there, them PPP fraud.
I'm way too honest for something like that. I'm doing something like that. I'm trembling. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, I might get caught. You know what I'm saying? I don't mess with the government and the IRS and all of that.
Yeah.
But for the people who came up off of it, I get it.
Right. You do that. Just know you got to take it back. What about
sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about the fact that we never got our reparations. You can see it
come on, they steal from us all the time. Come on, taxes is highway robbery. And they kill me.
That's a whole other conversation. I agree. But I feel like I know a lot of people who genuinely benefited from the PPP loans. They've been trying to build for a long time, and sometimes it's just hard to get that amount of money. You have to have money to make money, so it's hard to get the amount of money that you need to make the money. So I mean, I was for it, and for the people who kind of like scammed and everything, you gonna have to pay it back. Yeah, I'm for it. Exactly. You gonna have to pay it back.
Either they're gonna take you in, or they're gonna take it out of your bank account some way. They're gonna free. Listen, just be ready for that. I hope you put some to the side.
If you could
Help
flip it,
jumpstart your payment plans.
Right. Eric said in the
Oh,
comments, and I think this is really good. He said, we had jobs we couldn't fill because people wanted to get overpaid with unemployment.
so you blame? So do you really blame people for scamming them? No, I don't blame them. Like people didn't have work, and unemployment. Listen, everybody out here panicking.
But now look, Tora, what about the person that had a job, right?
That's just plain greed,
Right. And they say,
and that's just
I'm just
sad.
not going to work. And because my thing is, I understand that there were a lot of people that were out of work because of the pandemic, but I
Right.
also, I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to say no names, but I know a few people that could have worked and they was like, nah, this unemployment paying me. Like, if I get paid this much to stay home, what I'm going to work for? Like, so.
Do you blame them? Like I would, if I had the opportunity, I probably would have did it too.
it's
Because and my baby,
more.
my baby at that time was 4 or 5 months. I'm like, that would have been bonding time for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get it for the people who who really had reason to do it. And that is obviously some people that had no reason and they didn't really need to do that, and it's just ridiculous. But like for the people who like you said, Cam, for the people who genuinely came up with that, kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely, right? Keyword,
genuinely. Because now it's people who wanted to work and that literally stayed home for all these months because they couldn't work and then gain weight. You could have took your behind to work, been walking around, moving around, and you didn't stay home. You didn't gain weight for no reason just because you want to be lazy and you don't want to do nothing and you just want the government to take care of you. No, I don't feel bad for people like that.
Right.
Yeah. Only the people who weren't making, what they should have been making.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I wouldn't go work.
That extra $600, $300 was a blessing.
I can imagine. You ain't got to work for it for months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, and they just kicked it out now. They just stopped it for everybody. So it's the game finna change. The game is definitely finna change. And speaking about the game changing, right? So we go through this pandemic. Everybody is like, what is going on? Then from the pandemic, we see some pros, we see some cons. For a lot of cons, it was like weight gain, not being able to pay the bills, facing eviction, but then they had that program in place. So just a lot of things going on. People passing, right? They got truckloads of frozen trucks full of bodies, and it's just scary, right? So it was just like a bunch of transitions, and now things start to look brighter, right? We just like, you know what? When 2021 comes, it's going to be lit. We outside, right? We tired of being inside. We missed the whole summer. Now we get the introduction of the vaccine. Cam, how do you think that the introduction of the vaccine changed things?
First of all, let's just talk about the actual introduction of the vaccine, because in my opinion, that is how the whole issue that we're in right now started, right? So 2020 was a big year for a lot of reasons, COVID, but then we had the whole election, all the things that came along with that, and Orange Man and just everything, right?
Right.
That's where we were talking about this for a second before we got on here, and I feel like people's trust in the CDC, that's where, well, not at the beginning, but it caused a lot of people not to trust in the CDC because it's like Trump was holding people like puppets. And if you say the wrong thing, if you go against him, like you're fired, you're out. So I feel like they were giving us misinformation. You were confused. It was back and forth. So that's the first thing. Then, okay, Trump was going against the vaccine and everything, saying that it wouldn't really make you that sick. COVID wouldn't make you that sick. Then he ended up getting the vaccine himself. So it's just like a lot of things were confusing. So when the vaccine first came out, I'll be honest, I myself was saying, well, I'm not getting that. Like, I don't trust it. I don't trust the CDC. I don't trust the government. I already didn't trust pharmaceutical companies for other reasons. I was like, no. So in the beginning, I didn't have that much hope. I wasn't like super excited about the vaccine.
Yeah, and I think it definitely shook things up, especially when we talk about the time frame. I think that was one of the biggest things for people. Like like, how did y'all make a vaccine in this amount of time? Doesn't it take so much more time to take it, or make it, I should say? Doesn't it take so much more time to make it? And then the misinformation, right? So we got this guy telling us to take Lysol for the virus, like we said off air, and then, he's contradicting the things that the CDC are saying, but then when he says it, then they say it too, and then it's just kind of, then we got somebody, Bill Gates, he's chiming in, and I mean, he's like a billionaire, but I don't know when he became a doctor, right? So now we got all these people chiming in, and stuff like that, and I think that it really did, like when it first dropped, it definitely did bring a little bit, let me not even say a little bit, I ain't gonna be modest, it brought a lot of confusion for a lot of different people. And when we look at like the amount of confusion that it brought, it kind of made it hard for maybe somebody that would have taken the vaccine had it not been that amount of level of confusion in the beginning, versus somebody that might have been on the fence. Now you automatically, like, I'm already on the other side of the fence. I'm down the block. I'm not even looking back. Like, I'm not even thinking about this, right? So for you, Cam, for somebody that's at this time pro-vaccine, what do you think are some of the pros of the vaccine?
So for me, the way I look at it is I'm tired of this life, right? Like it's so many different like facets of it. It's layers to it. It affects every aspect of everything for the majority of people, right? And I'm tired of this life. So in my mind, it's like either you're going to aid in fixing the problem or you're going to kind of aid and continue in the problem. So that's kind of how I look at it. So for me, at this point right now, it took like I said in the beginning, I was hesitant to, but it's like it's either that or what. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my pro, getting back to regular life. The whole world just getting back to regular life. So that is my major pro of, taking the vaccine. And
go ahead.
Yeah, to your point, it did come out fast. So when I started to really do research and kind of look at, okay, what's the history? First of all, what's the history of COVID? COVID comes from or is derived from another virus, which is basically the common cold, right? So It's not like the variation of that virus is new, yes, but it's like the core of that virus is not something that's new. And they have been working on vaccines and things like that for the common cold for a long time. So It's not like they started from absolute scratch. It's just that, they had to do what they had to do to find this particular viruses,
right.
I guess. So once I started looking at all that and putting pieces together and doing research and things like that, I felt better about it.
Yeah. I definitely hear you on that, especially when it comes to, doing your own research, right? We're in an age where, again, we saw a lot of misinformation. And then now you have to look at certain things for yourself, right? And I think that that's one of the things with social media that we see a lot of, which can be a pro and a con. And I think the biggest con about this particular thing that I'm about to say is that you get people telling you that if you're not doing this, you're not doing it right. If you're not doing this, you're not living right. If you're not doing this, you're the problem, right? Like, so if your man don't take you out to dinner every weekend, you got to whack one, you need to leave him. Like, whole time, how you know my man don't work weekends? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, or if you not making $37 an hour, you failing in life. Like, how you know my rent not $200 and I'm happy where I live and my family is good and we don't want for nothing, right? So we have an influx of people just saying, like, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong. Like, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong, right? And a lot of times it's because of this misinformation that we got. So we're gonna have different opinions. Natalie said in our comments, the people that got the shot are gonna be like zombies and eat the people that don't. That's not the first time I heard her say that. I had to actually go back and pull that up because I thought that was just absolutely just comical.
I had that exact dream, Natalie. I swear, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I woke up like, my mother.
It might be a movie at some point in time. It might be a movie. I will watch it.
Listen, so for you, Tora, why do you think so many people are hesitant on taking the vaccine?
Um, I think the main reason people are hesitant is because it doesn't. Now, I can understand, when they say, "Oh, you just don't get that sick. You won't be hospitalized, but I'll still get sick." It's not preventing me from getting COVID.
Hmm.
It's not helping. So that's my biggest thing in this whole situation. Is like, why? Well, now they're mandating it. This is, we're talking about before they started mandating it. But if I'm speaking on now, why force something that doesn't prevent it anyway? If I'm still gonna get sick, what is the purpose of this vaccine, and why is it so? I literally don't understand it. I don't
Yeah.
understand it, and me personally, I'm not. I don't get vaccinated. I haven't gotten the flu shot since I was probably 12. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I just don't. I don't inject things into my body. When I'm in pain, I don't take pain pills.
Yeah.
I'm all for letting my body heal itself, and eating things that will help me be healthier. I'm not for, letting the government, who I do not trust at all, and I'm pretty sure most of us don't. But why would I let someone who I don't trust give me anything
Yeah.
and tell me that it's going to work and it's going to make me healthy? The main thing that I feel is, you want to tell somebody that, how to be healthy and how to live a healthy life. How about you mandate people to change their diet?
Yeah.
Mandate people to go vegan. Mandate people to get up and go work out every day.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, heart disease is a big issue. But what they're going to do, they're going to give you medication for it. Medication is not going to cure it. It's
Right.
not going to cure it. It's just going to treat it. It's cure in food. It's
Hmm.
curing the way you eat, and it's curing the way you take care of your body. There's no shot that's going to cure anything. And in my case, is just like a cured patient is money lost for them. They don't care about us.
Mm.
They don't care. So you think they're gonna really give us something that's gonna benefit us? I think not. I
Yeah.
don't trust them. And then, being on social media, and, just, you hear a lot of things, and people have negative um, reactions to this vaccine.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to react to that. So why should I be okay with taking something and not knowing the next day my boob going to be bigger than the other one? My right boob going to be bigger than the left. I just can't, I can't trust it. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that it's fair that they're really trying to force that on everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not right. It's not
Yeah.
right at all. And I thought this was a free country. You know what I'm
Hey.
saying?
Agree.
Like, I really thought it was a free country. Like, I don't turn my nose up. I don't think anyone's wrong for getting it. Like, I understand, like, people are scared. And like I said, before we got on here, to control people, you make them scared. And scared people get sick very easily.
Yeah.
This whole pandemic, the only thing I was scared of was the bombs. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I was scared of was another human being hurting me. I wasn't, and this, I don't want to offend anyone who's had the virus or who's lost anyone from the virus. I'm not trying to take it lightly. I'm just a person that believes in my body doing the healing. I
Yeah.
can't. When they told me that, when they told us that we couldn't be around each other, that didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, it can't be that contagious. If it's that contagious, why, when we wear our masks, why don't we put it in the biohazard bin? Then, you
Oh,
know what I'm saying? Like, why is
I didn't
it,
think about that.
why is it just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, a lot of things just didn't make sense to me. Like, I can't touch without wiping it with Lysol. If you got COVID, or if you got a cold, I'm so, like, our bodies are made to fight off bacteria. So now you tell people, stay in the house, stay away from people. That's not benefiting them because people are supposed to be around each other. That's how our bodies fight off diseases and viruses and like, but
Mhm.
when you tell people to stay in a house for months at a time and then now you tell them, okay, it's okay to go outside. You know how fast people get sick like that?
Yeah.
Because now you've been sheltered, you've been wiping everything down, cleaning all the germs. Now your body don't know how to react to it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like this whole thing just it never ever makes it never ever made sense to me. And I bump heads with my family a lot because they're just like, you take everything too lightly. And it's like, I don't take everything too lightly. I just try my best to use my own common sense. That's not saying that you don't have common sense, but I try to use my own common sense and I try to think logically about situations. And it's like,
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. Like, just because they're on the TV screen and they're a white man and they say they're a doctor or they're a scientist, you just believe every single thing that these people say?
Right.
Does
And
like I cannot believe everything these people say. They don't know everything, and that's been proven. That's
you,
been proven. They don't know everything.
you know,
Clearly.
you know what I love most about what you said? Like, through everything that you said, I love the most that the idea behind everything that you do is that this is my thought, my choice, and this is the choice that I'm gonna make, right? Not like, well, I'm gonna make this choice, and if you make this choice, you dumb, you ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are free to make the choice that you want to make. I'm free to make the choice that
Right.
I want to make,
Right.
and we'll just go from there. Nick
Mm-hmm.
said in our comments, we couldn't go to school if our immunization card wasn't updated, but it's the way that this vaccine was pushed on everyone. So I think that plays a big part in it too, right? When you're somebody that might be pro vaccine, you got to remember that vaccines are not something that's new. Like, we all had to take vaccines at a certain point in order to go to school, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not something that's new. But now when you get to a point where you're pushing something, like, all right, we're gonna push it, see how they take it. All right, we're gonna offer them money, see how they take it. All right, they don't
Yeah,
want the
and
money,
I'm
we start,
stubborn. I'm
right?
stubborn. You're not gonna force me to do. You can't force me to do anything.
I'm telling you right now, when I was a teenager, if I was in my room about to clean it up because I was about to have company or something like that, and my mom came in there like, clean this room up, and my mom, I'm like, I ain't cleaning that. God,
Now I'm not doing it. Now I'm not doing it.
I don't want to clean it now.
Right.
I think the tactics that they use, again, that's another thing. So after the whole Trump thing and the CDC, the next bad decision that was made on behalf of the government was how they went about it.
Hmm.
You can't bribe people, you can't, all these things that they were doing, it made it look suspect. And
Yeah.
at this point, I had the vaccine and it made it look suspect to me. But the problem is, in my opinion, this whole situation is like one big group project, right? And it's like, I understand the idea of like, my body, my choice. I definitely understand that.
Right.
Especially when it comes to other things that are going right now in the world,
Yeah.
like Texas, Florida, and all, and the
Hmm.
abortion, just like it's all playing into like where people's minds are right now. So I understand that. But the problem with that is, okay, if you are a person who doesn't want to take the vaccine, but you're also the same person who's going out there without a mask or, in big groups of people, things like that. And we know that the virus is spreading from person to person. And it's like, well, what are you doing to help the situation? So
Right.
it's like, I don't, I don't want to say I'm 1000% for forcing people, but it's like at a certain point, if people aren't willing to give up something, then where does that leave us, right? Because yes, your body, your choice, but this is a group project,
Yeah.
and if we're only as strong as we are together, it's like a one people type thing.
Right.
So that's kind of where I see an issue. If we can't come together, then people are going to have to start being forced because it will never end.
Yeah.
And then
I
this is a
honestly don't think.
Mhm.
I honestly think that. I'm sorry, Kim. I apologize.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, come on. It's an open
Oh
Um,
conversation.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a conversation.
I honestly think that it's never gonna go back to normal. And when they say, "Oh, everybody needs to be vaccinated," or the vaccine is not gonna work, doesn't make sense. If the vaccine is supposed to work, it's gonna work whether everybody's vaccinated or not. Because
So I
now, Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. There's like a lag. Go
No
ahead.
lag.
So that's one other thing I want to address that you mentioned earlier, because it makes sense to me why people are confused. Like, okay, now we're at a point where they're saying 50% of the people now who are vaccinated are getting it, and 50% who aren't. Like, it's like, okay, well, is it working? And that's part of the problem, because it took so long for these mandates to start happening. We had time for there to be different variants. And so the way it works is, a virus needs a host. And every time it jumps from host to host to host, it create the DNA molecules of the virus, they change. So they create new variants. So it's like, if we can't stop this virus from jumping to people in some type of way, there will always be a variant. And that's why the flu shot, people get the flu shot and get the flu all the time, because there's so many different types. And these scientists are working against time trying to figure out and predict, all right, this season, what variant of flu are we trying to fight against? Sometimes they get it right, a lot of times they get it wrong. But it's like, unless we stop this at some point, you're right, it is going to be pointless. And in my opinion, I feel like at this point, we've waited so long for there to be mandates that by the time we force everyone to get them anyway, this vaccine is no longer going to be good. They're going to have to try to force people to get another one because it's too late. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, aren't they trying to make people get a booster shot? Why make me take 2 shots and then turn around and tell me I need a third? So then that means next year you're going to tell me I need a fourth, and every year I'm going to need a vaccine. I just,
you know what though? One thing that I do so first and foremost, that like whole like booster shot for the rest of my life.
you
I
never
hope
know. I'm really wondering.
I hope that that's not the case, right? Because I'm not
Maybe not.
somebody that. Now, I'm not one of those men, and anybody that knows me knows I'm not one of those men that don't go to the doctor. Like, I'm sorry if I got a cough that lasts a little too long. I'm in urgent care. I'm at the doctor. Like, I'm not one of those guys, right?
That's him too. Yes.
Right. I know guys got that stigma where it's like, no, yeah, I don't go to the doctor. No, I go to the doctor. I'm there, like front and center, right? So it's not like I'm not afraid of needles. I'm not afraid. But the whole booster shot for the rest of my life, like that one, I just hope that we don't get to that point. Right. But one of the things that Cam said that I can say that I really see sense in is, if you don't want to get the vaccine, your choice, but put a mask on. Even if you, and when I say put a mask on, I don't mean wear a mask all day, every day, like in your house, in the shower. Like if you go in the store, put your mask on. You get what I'm saying? Like
does the mask really work?
So
studies have shown they help, because if you think about it, I mean, the biggest illustration of this to me is like the North versus the South, right? So for some reason, I won't even say for some reason, again, it's Trump's fault, but the majority of the South, they don't believe in that whatsoever. I've had several friends who have taken trips down South since this has started, and they're like, wow, it's a whole different world out there. Like, you would think that COVID just does not exist. We sit on IG and watch, follow whoever we follow from Atlanta and stuff, and it's like, no, like, outside was always open. Like, there's nothing different. But then you go back and you look at the numbers and you're like, you see it. You see the United States and you see like the dark colors, because it's just a big concentration of, the virus. So things like that have to lead you to believe, what's the difference here? What are the differences? People down South don't wear masks. They don't believe in it. There are mask mandates. They have governors and mayors and whoever in charge, like going after schools because they try to mandate masks. And up north, that's not the case. So I would say absolutely, I would think that, masks work, because if they didn't, even before the vaccines, how would all these nurses and doctors even be making it? I mean, some do get it still, but
that's that small percentage of people who still get it. That's what has me like, again, it's pointless. You know what I'm saying? Like, breathing in your own toxins, not good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to breathe fresh air. Fresh air is good for you, So like, I think the mask was dumb. I think the mask was dumb. I believe that if they would have shut down everything and made everybody stay home, we would be in a better position, especially like in New York City. I don't know about, everywhere else, because I don't live everywhere else. And like I said, I don't follow the news because I feel like it's a trap. and that's how they control you. But I believe that if they literally were to if they shut down everything and made everybody stay home 2 weeks, whatever, we probably wouldn't have seen the numbers that we saw. But now, people are
I
still
agree
trying
with
to
you on
make
that.
money.
No, because
still
then
trying to
people
make
would be
money.
going over people's houses still. You know what I'm saying? Like they can shut outside down, but you can't stop me from like going to my friend's house. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
But
That's
and
but,
then you got to think about it. Like people don't want to be healthy. I feel like come on now. This is now this if this is not proven, then y'all can slap me, right? The body, it heals itself. There is nothing that you can put into a needle and inject into someone and it completely cure them. What is going Dr. Sebi said it. And what happened to him? He died because they don't want you to know that there is cure in what we put into our bodies. Drink water. People want to drink alcohol every weekend, every day. People want to, and I'm a person, I eat meat still. The best thing to do, and I know this myself, the best thing to do is go on a raw vegan diet. Detox your body. Nobody wants to detox. The best thing to do is to change your diet and change your way of life. A needle and making sure everybody's vaccinated, it's not going to work. They're going to find a way to keep injecting us with things. And like I said, I haven't been injected with anything since I was probably like 12 years old. I don't get sick. So what does that mean? That means that what I eat and how I take care of myself plays a major part in my health.
yeah.
Not taking pills. I used to get cramps. I didn't take a pill. I put a warm compress on my stomach. I'm not taking a pill because now my body's going to depend on that pill. Same thing with the vaccine. Your body's going to start to depend on this vaccine. And now if you don't get the vaccine, what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. It may not be hospitalization sick, you know what I'm saying? It may not lead to death, but it's never going away. It's never going away. And like I said, the government they want everybody to do what they say because it's people in that White House that are not vaccinated. Why? Because they know something that we don't. They're not forcing them to get vaccinated, but they could go to work in that White House every day, sit up in each other's face and tell us what to do. Like we puppets. I think not. I think that you will not control me like that. And like I said, I do not turn my nose up to anyone who got the vaccine. You did what you had to do. People trust what they say, and you do, like I said, you do your research or whatever, and it makes sense. A lot of the things will have you like, okay, that makes sense. All right, if I'm vaccinated and you vaccinated, then we safe. No, if I'm vaccinated and you and you're not vaccinated, the only thing that should be keeping me safe is the vaccination that they gave me, not you. Not you. The vaccine.
What are your thoughts on that, Cam?
All right. So what part?
So I want to know what.
I was rambling.
I'm glad that you're saying all this because it's important. Like it's important that everybody hear both sides because this, like you're saying, what I'm saying represents society right now. There's
I'm passionate about it. Right. I just know so many people who were against the vaccine and who literally only got it because their job made them get it. And that's just like, come on now.
Right.
Like you're gonna attack people in their pockets because they don't want to.
That's where it hurt. Money stress is like one of the hardest stresses.
People gotta provide for their families.
Right.
And then the dumbest thing, you tell people they can't go to the gym. One of the things that's gonna keep them if they don't get vaccinated, come on, it doesn't sit right with me.
So the part that I want to hear your perspective on, Cam, is because I posted a video, right? And I didn't mean this. I didn't mean no malice, no nothing like this about this video. But it was a funny video, and I thought it was funny. And the guy was basically saying like, people who are vaccinated be like? And the guy was like, don't come around me because I have the vaccine and I'm protected. So if you around me and I'm protected, then that means that I'm protected. No. So if you around me, then that means that you're putting me in danger because I have the vaccine, and that means I'm protected. You know what? Like so what are your thoughts on that? Right? Like, so people saying like, all right, I have the vaccine, and the vaccine is supposed to protect you. And the idea, from what I know, right, the idea is that the danger is that if the person who is unvaccinated gets the person who's vaccinated sick, they'll live. But since people who are vaccinated can still get the virus, if they give it to the unvaccinated person, they can die. Right? So from what I know, that's the scare, but that's not how people act that are vaccinated. Like, so like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, or do you have more information? Like, how does that work?
Right. So, well, first, I'm not a doctor. We all know this.
Right.
But I think it's changed over time, right? So when the vaccines first came out, you really didn't hear of many people who were vaccinated getting COVID. There was no breakthrough COVID or whatever the case. It was kind of like, cool, you got your vaccine, I'm out, like, cool. Then over time, as variants started to develop and things like that, and it seemed like more people who were vaccinated then started getting it, then it was like, oh, well, I'm vaccinated, but if I get it and I'm around somebody who's unvaccinated, then they can get sick. So I'm going to wear my mask just so that they can't get sick. Mm-hmm. Now it's a situation where we have breakthrough COVID. So it's really like, I'm vaccinated, so the probability of me dying or having to be incubated or whatever the case is lower. But now it's like, I can still get sick. So now I'm wearing my mask for me. So I think it's changed over time. And I think, yeah, like you said, it is funny because it's a lot of confusion because you don't know what. It's like, am I safe or am I not safe? Right. I'm vaccinated. I still wear my mask in situations where if I'm in the company of people who are not vaccinated, I do that for me and I do that for them. I do that for me. I do that for them. I do it for my family members who might be, health compromised because I might get it, not really get that sick, but then I can still pass it. Right. So when you think about viral load and things like this, and I always joke about this, I don't know how many people have seen the movie Osmosis Jones, but that movie, like, watch it with your kids. They would probably think it's old at this point with the graphics, but that movie explains like viruses and germs and everything so well. Mm-hmm. It explains how you have a certain amount of viral load that you get, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a good immune system, okay, that gives you the upper hand. But at the end of the day, viruses of all kinds can easily take over your body, whether you have a healthy immune system or not. You may have a great immune system, but you come in contact with Ebola, like you're probably gonna have Ebola. So it's like when you give yourself the virus, you're giving yourself extra cells to fight off whatever you might need to fight off. Mm-hmm. So for me, as a person who has the vaccine, I have my immune system, but I also have these other vaccine fighters in me. So if I come in contact with the virus, then everybody's fighting. They all in there fighting, right? And maybe they can keep the amount of viral load at bay to the point where I might get it, but it might not knock me out. Right. But I still have the virus to pass it to someone else. And if they have a low immune system and they don't have the vaccine, then those coronaviruses are just going to overtake their body and then they're sick. Now they got a huge viral load, so they just out here spreading it. Right. So, yeah, it's a little confusing to think like, okay, I'm vaccinated while wearing masks, but it's like sometimes I might be the healthiest person in the world. I'm not, but I might be the healthiest person in the world. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, I'm super healthy, so I'm good. Like, I'm not going to worry about it because at the end of the day, I might be healthy. But what about my neighbor? What about my best friend's grandmother? You got to think about other people outside of yourself. And I'll be honest, I can be very selfish in ways. We can all be very selfish in ways. America is selfish in ways. But it's like at some point, you have to think beyond yourself and you know what I'm saying? Like a better me, a better we, like together.
Right.
So,
I like how you tried
I
to
like
spin
how
that.
you put that in
you saw
there.
that? You saw I did that. You saw I did that.
We not gonna use that as a vaccine campaign.
Right. My bad. That's trademark. X that out.
Uh, I'm
That
just
was
kidding.
cute,
I'm just
Kim. I
kidding.
like that.
I like that though. I like that. You know, I definitely am going. I'm gonna spin that. I'm definitely gonna spin that. That's gonna get a few plays on the playback. But you know, honestly speaking, like I want one of the biggest things that I like that you said was the idea of thinking outside of yourself, right? A lot of times when people think about the vaccine, they get the vaccine, they put their nose up, walk in the store like, yeah, I'm good. Peasants, get off me, non-vaccinated people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the idea that you've done something, right? Whether you know I believe in it, someone else believes in it, right? You did something because you felt like this is not only the best thing for me, but the best thing for the people around me, the people I come in contact with. And for me, I can do nothing but respect that, right? Whether I get the vaccine, whether I have the vaccine, I don't have the vaccine, right? I'm not going to disclose that information. This today, I'm in the middle, right? So you got to know me personally to know, you know. But I, for me, my biggest question is right because I'm a people person. I love to see, you know, as you guys can see from the mantra of the podcast, like a better me equals a better we, right? Sometimes we can't get to the other side of that, right? The only thing we think about is how can I better me? How can I be? How can I do this? How can I do? But how can we get to a better we, right? So for me, and my final question for you guys is how do we find a way to work with each other, although we may share different opinions about the vaccine? And Tora, I'll start with you.
All right. How do we find a way to work with each other? That's a good question. I guess just like respecting everybody's opinion on, you know, what it is that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? If someone who's vaccinated, like if I came around you can't being that I'm not vaccinated, I'll wear a mask, you know? And that's just out of respect. You know, I
Mhm.
think that's the only thing because people believe in the government and then people don't. So there's I don't think there's ever gonna be a ground where everybody's just like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. So I just think the only way for us to, you know, work with each other is just respect everybody's opinions about the vaccine. And
Yeah,
yes, the vaccine is supposed to stop what we had, stop this pandemic, and there are people dying. However, you can't force people to do something that you want them to do, and that's just to the government. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody's for it.
how about, and I agree with that 100%. I like the free will thing. My thing personally is and you guys know where I stand. If you don't know where I stand, you can read my shirt, Team Jesus. If God gave us free will, why does another man think they can take it away from us for whatever reason, right? God gave us free will. I'm real big on free will. The choices that now, what happens with the choices that you make, that's on you, right? Like no one can say, like if you do this or do that, like those consequences are yours to wear. Like those repercussions are yours to wear. Like you get what I'm saying? If you do a crime and I'm walking down the block, don't try to pull me in there because when we get in that room, bro, I wasn't even here. I seen him running out the store at about 3 o'clock. But no, I'm not like those are yours to wear. Now, if we did it together, that's both ours to wear. Like you get what I'm saying? But I say that to say everyone has a choice, right? And I like the idea of everybody having a choice again because of what I believe. I believe if God gave us free will, you know, what man should be able to take it away. That's just my personal opinion. So Cam, how do you feel like we can find a way to work with each other, although our opinions may differ about the vaccine?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, things like this, right? So open conversation, respectful conversation, a sharing of ideas, information is the top thing. At the end of the day, I'm vaccinated. I don't trust the government. Like I said, I don't trust pharmaceutical companies. I know that they're all out for money. And to be honest, I feel like they're forcing people to get the vaccines, not even to save people, but just to get the economy back. That's my personal opinion. But I think that in situations like this, I'm vaccinated. I don't know if the vaccination could kill me next year. Like, I don't know if it's gonna stop me when it comes to fertility. I don't know for sure. So what I'm doing is just picking in this moment right now, we need a solution. Like, we just need a solution. So if we can come together and figure out a way to figure out a solution that works for everybody, that speaks to everybody, I think that would be the best idea. Like
Yeah.
I said earlier, if you don't want to be vaccinated, then okay, I feel like those people should not put themselves in situations where they can spread and pass the virus. It's just like you got to work together. So, are making everybody get vaccinated, is that the best idea? I don't think it's going to work. I don't see how you can literally force, because I mean, some people make money in ways that it don't even have to go through like taxes and stuff. Like some people just make money off on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not ever get a chance to make everybody get vaccinated, but you can find ways to make it work for everybody. If that makes sense.
I'm with that. I agree with that. I just want to thank you guys for having this conversation with me. I chose you two ladies, specifically because I knew that you guys' perspective on the virus differed, but I also knew that you guys would be able to articulate yourselves in a way where people would be able to see that these are the conversations that we can have with each other. Right. I think a lot of times people think that if our opinions differ, we can't like have a conversation. We can't talk about it. Like literally the entire conversation. It was like, this is what I think, far left. This is what I think, far right. But we still were able to smile, laugh, joke. This is what I think. I'm not saying that I changed my mind about anything. I'm not saying that I changed my mind about anything, but we were able to have this dialogue. And I feel like with all of the information and the things that you ladies brought to the table, somebody is going to, at the end of this, say, you know what, I learned something. Or, yo, let me share this video with you because Cam said this. Let me share this video with you because Shatora said this. And, I struggled with the same thing. I was scared of bums. Like, I didn't even think to run back up the stairs and come back down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just different things. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like that, and just showing that we can talk to each other. We can work together, right? Like, and Shatora and Cam, they not best friends. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they not like people that talk every day, right? But they were able to say, all right, you know what? We're going to come on this platform. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to say my views. You're going to say your views. And that's how we should be able to do it with other people, right? Fear, I'm telling you, fear is really a killer, right? And when we live in fear, it prevents us to be able to have simple conversations, right? Where somebody walks in your house with no mask, yo, what the da 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 da. When in all actuality, you could have just listened. It would make me a little bit more comfortable if you wore your mask here. Now the person can say, you know what, I respect that. I'll go get a mask. This is not what I would normally do, but I respect you. I want to be in your company. I hold it down for set this day. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, and when we learn how to work together, I feel like things would be better. I feel like there's a big divide that's happening because of this fear and because of the introduction of the vaccine. And I think that once we learn to talk to each other and once we learn to put those differences aside and say, okay, well, I feel uncomfortable with this, and we can accept that, whatever it is, whether it's a mask or whether it's the vaccine. Like, listen, well, I feel uncomfortable with that. Can we please not talk about it every time I get in your car? Like, I'm not getting it. I'm straight. Just like, come on, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about love and hip hop. Like, we're just respecting each other all the time, right? So
ultimately, it's us, the vax and the unvax. It's us against them. But go ahead.
Right, but and then ultimately, it shouldn't be that, because at the same time, now we see a conversation where we've been able to come together and have that conversation. It's just like, okay, if this how you feel, this how you feel, this how I feel, this how, and now we straight, right? And I'm just all for we, right? I really love. I think nowadays the world has become very me-centric, and I believe that you should always be conscious of yourself. You should always be working to be the best version of yourself, but there's no you without someone else, right? So the we matters, right? It took two people to make you, not one. Like, so the we matters, right? So that's my spiel. I do, before I let you guys go, I do just want to show you guys. So last week we had our first fall drop that I put out for you guys, that I showed you guys, and that was Why Worry? My Steps Are Ordered by the Lord. This is our fall drop number 2. This comes in t-shirts and sweaters. Got a problem? Try Jesus. Don't try me. If you guys are interested in that, you can always DM me. You can comment on this. You can reach out to someone on my production team, and we'll definitely get this out to you. We have different colors, glitter. If you're one of those girls that want some shiny pink glitter, we can do that too. Yeah, we'll have that out for you guys. Hoodies, the whole 9 yards, right? So, Tora, do you have anything for our viewers before we head out?
The only thing I will say is just again, respect everybody's opinions. And try, even if you're vaccinated, be healthy. Be healthy. Have a healthy diet. Work out. It's good for you. You feel good. You look good. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Imperfect Mom on Instagram. Imperfect
yes,
Mom.
we're gonna be doing another 21-day challenge soon. So whoever's interested,
Right.
let me know. Let me
Listen,
know.
just snatch real quick. Cam, you got anything for our viewers before we head out?
Yeah, I just want to thank you both. I 1000% agree with the things that Tora was saying as far as like being healthy and like it probably should be mandated to eat healthy. I would probably be mad for a little bit, but it would do me some good. So I
You'll
agree
love it in the
100%.
end.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I think these conversations are important to have, and I just hope that we kind of take these. I watch IG. I'm on IG all the time, like watching people argue in the comments and stuff like that, and that's really just shouting and back and forth. I feel like if this is going to end ever, it's going to have to be everybody deciding to focus on the solution. Okay, this is what you think. This is what I think. Now, what's the solution? So
Yeah.
I just hope that that's kind of the take that people will start to look at COVID and the whole pandemic with.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Get rid of that COVID spread. I got rid of mine. So
Detox, please, everybody.
yeah.
As often as you can.
I just gotta tone up my COVID spread. I just gotta tone it up. But that wraps up a better me equals a better we, episode number 25, the shot. Right? We talked about the shot. We talked about the pandemic. We talked about PPP loan. We talked about unemployment. Right? We went through the whole 9 yards. We even talked about kids getting the vaccines briefly. Like just a bunch of different stuff. We wanted to touch on everything and stuff. Oh, come on, get out my comments with all this googly stuff. All right, right? We ain't finna do that right now, right? But thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. You could have been doing anything else, but you were here with us having this conversation that I feel like was well needed, and a great representation of what conversations concerning COVID, the pandemic, should be like. Right? This is exactly what it should be like. A great conversation, a healthy conversation, a calm, we just shooting the breeze, right? Just shooting the breeze. A few disagreements, but we all smiling and laughing at the end of the day. Like, it is what it is, right? That's life. We're not going to agree on everything, but the one thing that we do know is that a better me equals a better we. I'll see you guys next week, Tuesday, for episode 26. All right. You guys have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.
Real.
That hurt.